Welcome to the InnerChild Podcast, where we have authentic conversations about growth, childhood, and passion. I'm JB. That's my co-host, OD. And today on the podcast, we have a very, very special guest for you all, a young lady who's very well accomplished, a go-getter, and just overall great energy. So none other than Kayla Willis.
Hello.
Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up.
Clapping for myself.
Definitely. Appreciate you coming on, Kayla.
Yes, thank you.
What's going on? How you doing today? All right?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm present. I'm here. So it's going to be a good day.
For sure.
That's what's up. Let me ask you, because, obviously, pre-recorded show. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. How did you celebrate your V-Day?
So I went to cycling. I went out to lunch with one of my former mentors.
Okay.
And then I had a little outing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Hope you enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah.
You ready for this one? This is how we start off the show.
Okay.
You know, this is our intro to the show, right? We call it drip check. Right, I know JB probably told you about this one.
He did.
So what's going on? Lay it on me. What's up? What's the ensemble today? What you feel like putting on?
Ensemble. So actually, this top was thrifted.
Okay.
So I don't know where it's from.
Okay.
These are barrel jeans from American Eagle.
Okay.
I got into that recently. And Steve Madden ankle
those are
boots.
tough.
I like
those are tough.
I like them a lot.
Gold jewelry.
Okay.
And natural hair. That's
sure.
that's the drip today.
10 out of 10.
Good
10 out of 10.
Good job.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get right into it. Kayla, talk about, your upbringing in Atlanta, just some of your influences, whether it was family, friends, just to tell the viewers a little bit, how you grew up and just about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm from the south side of Atlanta.
Okay.
South Fulton, College Park.
Shout out to the SWATs.
Yeah. My parents got divorced when I was 5.
Okay.
So I was back and forth from my mom's house and my dad's house. My mom, she works for this credit union in Georgia. And my dad is a photographer / healthcare associate thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of had a mix of all types of things just going on in my life. But growing up in Atlanta, everything was black, especially in the South Side. I could count until I got here. Well, until I got to New York, I could count how many times I had a white teacher or a white classmate, if that. I don't think I ever had a white classmate until college, honestly.
Yeah.
So I really didn't understand the difference between things. I just knew that I go to school, I get good grades, and I do that. But yeah, I just always like to be myself. And I went to a charter school in middle school, and that kind of changed my entire perspective on life, just overall. And that's how I think I guess that's the catalyst of who I am now.
Yeah.
But in terms of my upbringing, my upbringing was good. I had a really good, solid foundation as a family, and people that just always poured into me. That I never really had to worry about, not feeling like I wasn't gonna do something.
Was the dynamic kind of tough? I know you said you were 5 when your parents split, but was it tough growing up? Going with your mom one weekend or your dad one weekend or another. How was that dynamic like? Did you ever feel like it was a struggle or a fight and pull to kind of be on the same page with either of them, or?
No, not really. I think that's probably the best thing that happened in
Really?
my life, honestly. Yeah, my parents getting divorced.
Why you say that though?
I just can't picture a life with my parents together. I remember it before before they got divorced.
Yeah.
Small memories. But the dynamic was never a struggle because I was so young. That's what I was used to.
Fair.
So I never had to really think about that. I think the struggle came during puberty, as an adolescent. Sometimes I could have a smart mouth. My dad say something to my mom. It's Dad, why would you say something to my mom?
Yeah.
My mom girl, what's going on? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's where it got hard. But growing up, like just in terms of, I guess, the everyday, like, no, it was dad's picking me up on Friday. We stay in the weekend, go back to my mom's. Other weekends, it would just be that Friday. And then we stay. And I have a stepbrother. Well, I have 2 stepbrothers and a stepdad. And then we all come together. So, like, it's always been this big blended family dynamic all the time. I'm just used to it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Was there a difference in the household dynamic, especially with like the personalities of like your mom or the personalities with your dad?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad is more, I don't want to say like easygoing, but my dad is like a really calm person.
Okay.
And my mom was more of the disciplinary, but I think that's because we were at her house majority of the time. She was my primary caregiver. I guess that's what you call it. So she had to be more strict or whatnot. And then like my stepdad, I mean, he just my stepdad. So it's like he could do stuff because he was raising us, but he can't, I guess, discipline us in the same way as our mom.
Yeah.
So yeah, that dynamic was definitely different. And
what side do you feel like you lean to the most?
Ooh.
Within your parents' personalities?
So I speak like my dad.
Okay.
Like I have my dad's tone of voice, and how I talk to people is like my dad.
Yeah.
But I am my mom's child, especially when I get angry. Like it's scary. And I think that I have the temperance of my stepdad.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I'm more of my mom because not only do I look like her, I act like her.
Yeah.
But it's like I act like her as if I was talking as my dad. It's really scary when I think about it, like all the way, because I notice myself changing into my parents. Like even now, I'm like, dang, like when I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, dang, I sound just like my dad. But then when I feel any emotions, I don't know, I think about how my mom would process the emotions. It's really weird.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to get into obviously like your collegiate experience. I kind of read somewhere that what you had about 1.5 mil in scholarships.
Read somewhere. Yeah.
Tell me about that journey.
So, I grew up low-key, low income. Like, I don't want to say extremely low income, but low income enough to where when I began to apply for schools, I was like, I need a full ride.
Okay.
So I went to Westlake High School. If anybody know about Westlake.
Sure. Shout out Westlake.
Yes, shout out Westlake. Go Lions. And there was this thing called the senior wall. And I was like, well, it's 2 ways I could go about this. I could either get on the senior wall and only have a couple of schools, or I could get on the senior wall and have a lot of schools and have a lot of options for me to choose from. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have a lot of options for me to choose from.
Yeah.
As I am seeking a full ride, I am applying to schools that I can A, see myself attending, or B, possibly finesse a full ride from. So I'm applying. And as I'm applying, I'm posting my, like, I guess acceptances and stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of it, just so I could document it. I love to reflect and I love documenting things. So that's what I'm doing at the time. And as you're applying, as you get accepted, you submit it to the senior wall. Come sometime in February, my senior wall is up. So I take a picture and I'm talking to my dad. And he's like, oh, you should just, show the world how great you are. You should post it. I said, okay, cool, I'll post it. Post it. Clock into work. I worked at Cracker Barrel. Clocked into work, they don't play. So I'm phone off, just got my Apple Watch on. And as I'm working, my Apple Watch is just binging like, fuck. And I'm like, dang, what is going on? Like, why am I getting so many notifications from Twitter? And then I get off work and I'm realizing I'm going viral. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is insane. I never went viral before. But I still don't think anything of it because people could go viral. And then it's just, happen for 2-3 days and then it'll die down. But no, it did not die down. I'm getting contacted from magazines. I'm getting contacted from like local news websites or whatever. I'm getting contacted from all types of people, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, I just became that girl.
Yeah.
Not that girl like that girl, but that girl like that had all the scholarships and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of felt like an overnight sensation type thing.
Yeah, not for sure. Like I want to get into that just a little bit more because you seem so modest and humble when it comes to talking about it. And obviously as we should all, move through life with humility. But that's a big thing. Like we're talking about $1.5 million in scholarship awards. Like you said it yourself. Like you've been featured on multiple stages, multiple platforms, right? Steve Harvey Show being one. To talk about that experience, right? And I'm just thinking in my head, how do you get to a place where you get 1.5 million in scholarship? Like, what was your grind like? What was your your work ethic like? What were you thinking of?
Balance, man. It's just balance. Yeah. So a lot of it comes from merit. So because I did well in school, schools wanted me to, I guess, commit to their school. So as a result, they're giving out scholarships. But that's something that doesn't just happen, your senior year. You kind of have to work your entire high school career for that. So when I was in 9th grade, I knew that I wanted a full ride. I mean, that's not the only reason why I did well in school, but it's just like I knew I couldn't slack off because at the end of the day, that would, I guess that would end up not being beneficial to me. The 1.5 million came because I was just applying. Like, I'm like, I gotta go to school for free. I gotta have some option.
Right.
Luckily, my top school was Fisk University, and I ended up getting a full ride to Fisk University. So that was nothing but God. But it's like, well, if it's not Fisk, where is it gonna be? Pretty much. So that was the motivation behind it. But honestly, I didn't think that much into it. I was like, I'm gonna apply. I'm going to see where this can go, and hopefully this can gain me admission to the school that I need to go to, and hopefully for free.
Yeah.
And when I posted that, I literally was just posting it because, like I said, I was already putting that information out on Twitter, kind of like in a reflective way. It's like, oh, look, I did it. And then it just spiraled from there. Like everybody was like, how and why and all types of stuff.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah. And it wasn't there's a misconception that I got while I was in that like stage of life where people were thinking that I was trying to take opportunities from other individuals. And it wasn't even like that. Like it was just more so I need the options.
Right.
Because if I don't go to school with some type of financial assistance, I don't know if I'm going to school. So
not for sure.
But I learned that like once you decline, like that money still is gone to the school. So I declined the scholarships.
Right.
I declined the offers. Once I got my full ride to Fisk, like I didn't accept no other money or anything because I didn't need it.
Right.
So, it wasn't in a way to where I'm just trying to, I don't know, I guess make myself seem better than what it is. I just really wanted to go to my school.
Right.
And it all worked out, but yeah.
So were you always like just completely self-motivated, or did you have other influences, mom or dad or other, family members or mentors who kind of pushed you? Or did you, already from the time you were in 9th grade, I need to get to this point. And in order for me to get there, this has to be the route. So was that all self-motivated, or did you have influences to kind of help push you along the way?
I definitely had influences. One of them was my high school principal.
Okay.
And he like pushed me so much. He even pushed me to apply to Ivy League.
Okay.
And I did. I didn't get in at the time. But he pushed
now,
me to, I know, I'm here now. He pushed me to apply to Ivy League. And my friends, like, I really had a real core group of friends. A lot of them I'm still friends with now. Like,
that's good.
It was never a time where, I mean, my parents too, but my parents, they were more like, get good grades, try hard.
Mm-hmm.
They're my biggest cheerleaders, but they didn't really, I guess, worry about me. So they were pushing me in more of a, I guess, in the way where like I'm nurturing her, so I'm pushing her. So it's a little bit different. But my friends, especially my mentor, my high school principal, they were pushing me. They were pushing me in different ways, but they were pushing me with like, you can do this, you got this. Like you're bright, you're smart.
Yeah.
Just try. So yeah, definitely.
Got you. So I mean, you worked hard in high school to get to that certain point, and ultimately, like you said, you ended up going to Fisk University in Tennessee. So talk about that experience, the HBCU experience. How did it shape your personal growth and your professional growth in that duration of 4 years?
Yeah. So when I first got to Fisk, I actually didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it, but that was the effects from all the Steve Harvey stuff. Because I couldn't just be a normal person.
Like you came in.
Yeah, I came in kind of like a celebrity, low key.
Yeah.
And people already had this
preconceived notion.
Yeah, they felt like they knew who I was, and they did it. And I was really closed off. It was hard for me to feel like I was making like genuine friends. So I didn't like it. And then COVID hit. And I was like, oh, am I wasting my entire HBCU career not doing anything, So then I decided to do what I do best and try. And I became the sophomore class senator. And that's when I guess my HBCU experience really started. And that's when I started making friends and going out more and really trying to, I guess, leave the idea of Kayla Willis and who she was her senior year of high school and into Kayla Willis, the girl that now attends Fisk.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the best things I could have done because it kind of showed me the perspective of what it was to just be a student and not care.
Yeah.
Because I was putting so much pressure on myself to, I don't want to say live up to the hype, but when you have something that big happen to you at such a young age, you kind of start thinking differently.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know, for example, I don't know if I should hang out with you because what if I do something that's to myself and then you start a rumor or whatever. Like I was just thinking so far ahead. And now I'm kind of like, if I enjoy spending time with this person or I enjoy hanging out with them, like, and they're truly going to be my friend, they're truly someone that's supposed to be in my life, none of that's going to matter.
Yeah.
But I didn't learn that till sophomore year. So, yeah.
No, you would say that your freshman year was kind of one of those situations where like you had, I wouldn't say trouble, but it was hard for you to figure out what space for you to belong in.
Yeah, it was hard because there was no space. Because I couldn't, most people when they get to college and they go to a college that's in a different state, city, they can start over. Anything that happened to them in high school, bad, happy, traumatic, whatever, you're going into a space where majority of these people don't know you at all. So you can be whoever you want to be, whether that's for the better or whether that's not for the better. But me, like, people knew that I was going to Fisk in February of 2019. So they had from February 2019 to August 2019 to figure out who the hell I was. And when I got to Fisk, I was this, like, I don't know, I was just this girl. So there was no space because whenever I put myself into spaces, we were only talking about Steve Harvey or my acceptances or all types of stuff where when I was trying to put myself in a space where I think these are people that's my friend, I didn't feel comfortable in the space because now I'm kind of putting that pressure back onto myself. Like, are they even really trying to be my friend right now? Or are they just trying to, get to know me for whatever malicious reason?
Right.
So it was a weird balance because I just didn't feel like I belonged. So when COVID happened, I guess I kind of had to make my own space. Like, what am I good at? And then try for that. And then once I started doing that, that's when I started being seen as more than just the Steve Harvey girl, basically,
Right.
and 2, learning how to be comfortable in spaces where I may be uncomfortable.
That's such a great point, because I think not just, obviously your experience is your experience, and what you kind of had to deal with based off of, your senior year of high school, as you mentioned. But I feel like a lot of people who, go into college, whether it's, HBCU or PWI, that first year is a lot of figuring stuff out, regardless of,
Yeah.
how to make new friends, how to readjust to a certain situation, a certain environment. And obviously one of the key focal points on this show is growth. And I think that just is a testament in your case of, growth from, freshman year to sophomore year. And I'm sure, after your sophomore year, it just you can continue to ascend, right?
Yeah.
So how would you say that, after you got your feet wet and you started to get a little bit more comfortable assimilating to, the culture at Fisk, how else did you grow beyond that second year?
One thing that really saved me was bringing the club that I had founded in high school to Fisk.
Okay.
It's called Going Against the Grain. We had started it. We, myself and the co-founder, Aspen Humes, had started it my sophomore year of high school, because there wasn't a club that was for like social awareness. So he was like, well, let's just make it. And that had become, I guess, my saving grace in high school, because it was something that I was really passionate about and I was able to pour into. And when I got to college, I was like, it's hard for me to pour into things. So I brought it to Fisk. So Going Against the Grain Fisk chapter. And I was able to, I guess, show a side of me that nobody had really known. So that was definitely the catalyst. And then also like getting into more leadership positions,
Sure.
pledging, doing internships, like working with people. Like I got an internship with former Congressman Jim Cooper, and working with him and working with like voter advocacy and voter oppression and trying to change the voter turnout from 2016 to 2020. Like just things that I was really passionate about, I was able to just flourish in. And it really helped me kind of just, I don't know, I guess understand what balance meant, like in totality. And then I was able to just, I guess, really find myself in different avenues. Like, okay, who's Kayla Willis when she's partying? Or who is Kayla Willis when, she's really locked in and she's focused? Who's Kayla Willis when she is the leader of the club? Like, I was able to do things like that. And then also, like, I had my nonprofit, too, that I was able to pour into as well. So just really, it's really, I don't want to keep saying balance, but it was really just balance and figuring out, like, how to mesh those together.
No, I mean, what you just said is literally how your growth over time literally helped you to find and to tap back into those passions. Like literally, it's just a trickle down effect. So, you come in at a certain stage, you're growing, and then all your passions just open up and come back to form of, stuff you did in high school or just other passions that you had for, policy, advocacy, and so forth. So that's amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I appreciate the fact that you talked about your nonprofit, right?
Yes.
And then it ties in with the whole leadership and the passion, right? So talk to us a little bit about, your nonprofit program that you do have. What's its mission? What are some of the things that you have in store for it? Just give us the whole picture.
So my nonprofit is called the More Than Numbers Program Incorporated. We're a 501c3 public charity organization that helps lessens the educational disparities seen within our community. So it actually started from my senior year, because I was getting so many questions about how I did it, why I did it, what I did. But like I said, it's not an easy, clear-cut answer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't come to me and I've already got accepted into Fisk asking me, oh, how did you get a full ride? And it's like, well, it was honestly 12 years in the making. So I decided to, let me backtrack. When I was on the Steve Harvey show, the show had given me $5,000. I had already gotten a full ride. I didn't need the money. So I'm like, what can I do with this money in order to, pour back? And I just kept getting questions about, what did you do? How did you do it? What did you do? How did you do it? And I was like, it'd be so easy if I could just put all these kids into a program in the beginning of their senior year and just help them along the way.
Yeah.
So at least by the time they're getting accepted, they know like what was done. And then, I don't know, I went to sleep, I woke up, I was like, I'm gonna start a nonprofit. So I used that money to start our college preparatory program because I didn't know if I wanted to have a nonprofit yet. And my entire freshman year of college, the way I was able, I guess, to pull myself out of those negative spaces was to pour into my nonprofit. That was the only thing I felt like was mine. And that's what I did. And it literally helped me find my purpose in life. Like once I started doing that, I was like, I could do nothing else in the world, but if I can help these kids through my nonprofit, I'm good. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make it official. So I guess 2020, I gave out about $1,250 worth of the scholarships. Used the rest of the money to make it a registered organization in Georgia. Used the rest of that money to get my 501c3 status. Became a nonprofit in July 2020. Got my 501c3 status in October 2020. And since then, we have 3 programs. We're a leadership team of 10.
Oh, wow.
We have over like 15 yearly events. We're on our 6th cohort. We've given out over $20,000 worth of financial assistance and aid. And it literally saved my life because if I didn't have my nonprofit, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because people don't, I guess it's kind of hard when you find your passion and the joy that it brings you. Like it's like my child, I guess, but it's more than that. Like it's the reason I'm alive. Like it's what I do best. And I found out that because I have my nonprofit, everything before then led to that moment and everything after then is because of that one thing. So the reason why I'm so good at just like making programs and putting things together is because of my nonprofit. But that's because I had to create an organization when I was a sophomore in high school that prepared me to know what it's like to be a leader of something like that. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't for my experience at my charter school and middle school, I wouldn't even understand the depths of educational disparities. So I really love More Than Numbers and I love what it's become and I'm excited for what's to come. Things that are coming up, just hopefully just more growth with it. We're still small, of course, and I'm in New York now, so it's definitely been a challenge. But if I'm able to run a nonprofit throughout my undergrad years, I definitely do it now. So
for sure, and we'll be sure to make sure we share, like the link and the photo of the Instagram page and everything on the episode and on the Instagram page as well. And you touched on obviously the education piece, education, advocacy, and policy. How important is that to you? And could you just share some of like you feel like the biggest issues within education, policy in general, and some of the things that you're trying to help solve, whether it is just financing for individuals to go to school debt free, obviously, or little to no debt as possible?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is that the system is not made for those who face any type of disparity to win, which makes it harder for someone to move forward. For example, a lot of us, when we came into this country, were not granted access to education. So we had to find different ways for us to gain some sense of knowledge. And because of that being the, I guess, background of everything, when you fast forward to 2025, we're dealing with different issues that affect everyone. I really think that education is the sole, I guess, ground for all types of social policy because we're not really poured into our educational methods in order to help someone, let's say, for instance, that may have a learning disability to like learn how to read faster, to even to the point where, well, how many federal grants are we giving out to make sure that at least every student over the age of 5 has access to a textbook or computer or whatever. The digital age and the way we are, I guess, collaborating with education is not moving as fast as the humans are evolving. And it's becoming an imbalance in how people learn and how people retain information, how people tackle gaining information, just simply. And because of that, we're stuck. Like, we're really stuck.
Yeah.
And I don't think that COVID made it any better either, because that went from your everyday interacting with your teachers, interacting with other students, because going to school is bigger than just learning. That's where you gain your social skills. That's where you gain your mobility skills. If you can't take a PE class through Zoom. So it's just so many aspects of it. I can keep going on and on, but it's just so many aspects of it that's making us stuck. And I just hate it. So I was like, I just want to help.
Yeah.
But I can't solve all problems with education.
Yeah.
But I do know that if I can make it just a little bit easier some way, somehow, then I'll do what I can. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah. It's a pretty fitting conversation to have right now, obviously. You know, being at what stage we're in with the world, with, you know, obviously a change in presidency, right? And you're noticing the push to, you know, remove, I would say, our Black history in the textbooks, and, you know, all the DEI initiatives that they're trying to shut down and get rid of with all these companies. How has that, I guess, changed your perspective and how you, I guess, how you do business with your organization? Or has there been any challenges you've had, or, you know, that you're having right now when it comes to, you know, your program with all the educational and DEI changes that are happening right now?
Yeah, simply we just have to get creative. Like, we just have to find new ways. People say they don't like DEI. They say they don't like Black history, whatever. But DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if you say you don't like DEI, that means you're saying you don't like diversity, you don't like equity, you don't like inclusion. You're saying you don't like Black history, you don't want it to be taught, that means you don't like history, you don't like American history, you don't like the history of today. So we just have to be really creative of how we are tackling these things with people. In terms of my organization, I have not had any issues per se with the changes. The issues come with the level of support. I think because we are not pushing education, and I'm not saying it has to be everyone's top priority right now, but because we're not pushing it further, individuals, Black, white, red, blue, whomever, are not also like pouring into these organizations, not even just more than numbers, but things like the Boys and Girls Club, or, you know, like the HBCU funds or alumni associations. They're not pouring back into those things because it's not being put to the surface. And that's where the challenges come, because how am I going to give out a scholarship if we don't have enough funds to give out a scholarship?
Right.
Stuff like that. So that's what I mean, where we, as in like those that are trying to help solve these problems, need to get creative. Whether that's with the curriculum that we're giving the students, whether that's within how we are showcasing ourselves, how we are marketing ourselves as a business, to even how we are having conversations like these. Like, are we saying DEI, or are we saying diversity, equity, and inclusion, and making sure that we're engraving it into their brains that this is what we're talking about? Luckily, my organization, we're small, so small support kind of equals small organization. It works for us, but I can't even imagine what it's like to be a bigger organization and have all these things happen, because it's like within a blinking of an eye, you know, your whole structure could be just demolished. So it's really scary, but I think, like I said, the number one thing is being creative and just changing how we go about these things.
So obviously you mentioned you worked at the state level for a congressman, correct?
Yes.
Right. But you also worked at a local level in Douglasville, correct?
Yes, I did.
So what are some of the things that you learned from both experiences that helped you be able to problem solve and create solutions for various problems within, your respective community?
Yes. I also worked on the federal level too.
You worked at federal. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you've worked all three.
And government
Okay.
nonprofit. So I've done the whole scope.
Yeah.
What I've learned is honestly, everything is connected.
100%.
So I think within like Douglasville, my bad, and the local level, I learned like how like your HR team affects your parks affects city management affects finance affects council, like how that's connected, and just the every day-to-day aspect of that. State, federal, and nonprofit, not so much, but state and federal is a little bit more political or spooky yuki, as Kiki Pop would say. It's kind of like it's just so many dynamics, and people are being elected into these positions, but they really don't have like a true sense of self and what they want to do. And I strongly think that that's why we are seeing things turn out the way that it is now. Yeah, I think that's a good way to end that, because I don't want to get too much into it, but it's just that like people are doing this for power and they're not doing it to help. And I think because of that, we're seeing all of these systems become even more flawed than they were intended to be.
100%.
And it's really scary. And then because everything is connected, it's affecting people on the local level. So if the federal government is cutting some type of funding, then that's affecting how much the state's budget is. And the state's budget is going smaller, then that's also affecting how much the county budget is, or the municipal budget is, or whatever the case may be. And if we can't get no potholes fixed, then what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? So it's all connected. It's all a circle. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes in at all three levels, federal, state, and even at the local level, I do believe that individuals who go into the realm of politics start out with intentions of changing something. I think so, genuinely, but I think along the way, as politics get in the way of politics, let's just say, then plans change, intentions change. Like my dad was in the world of politics, but he never classified himself as a politician. He always told me and my brother he's a public servant, because like his genuine mission was to make Jacksonville a better place, and he definitely did that, right? But you mentioned earlier, people, not having a backbone, people not be able to stand on their own 10. And once other factors come into play within that world, and at the end of the day, that business, because that's what it is, honestly, just another form of business. We just say it is something else, then that's where everything goes out the window. And like you said, decision making from the top down affects people at the lowest totem pole. Obviously, we vote. We just voted in a national election, but just as important, in those national elections is our state and local level, and those are the
stuff that really affects
us every day. And so that's where I was very curious about your experience. Working. I didn't know you worked at the federal level, but the state and local level, because those are what affects us every single day. So I appreciate that insight and that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, the local level is probably the most important, like y'all said, because it does affect our day-to-day, but it's also the level where you can truly get to know who's representing you. Like you can go to the town halls, you can talk to the city manager, you could talk to the council members, you could run into them at the gas station, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's also very important in that way too, because these are your everyday people. These are the ones that are deciding what potholes get fixed, if the street will be closed on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like just these small things that may like go over our heads, but it really affects our day-to-day life. And I didn't realize that when I started working on local level, but like coming out of it, it just, I guess, made me feel more secure in what I want to do, because I just realized like how connected you have to be with people to be on the local level. Like on the state and on the federal level, the president does not interact with everyday people. You may see them, you may see whomever take a picture with them, you know what I mean, during Easter or something.
Of course, yeah.
But if the president walked in today, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's the president. They didn't have Secret Service, whatever. They're so far removed from everyday, I don't want to call us common folk, but just the people that are living, that they don't even know how to make decisions for us no more. You know what I mean? So it's really up to the like local level of government to be making these decisions and stuff. It's just hard, because if the federal and the state level, or whichever levels that are above them, are not, I guess, putting the best interest into, like, putting the people in their best interest, it becomes really hard. So like I said, if you don't have the funding, it's harder to, I can't fix no potholes, or I may have to raise taxes. Yeah. It's just all types of stuff that just makes it really, really complicated.
Yeah, and staying on the local level real quick before we switch segments. At a local level, you have your own day in South Florida.
Yeah,
Can you explain that and share how that came about, please?
Yes.
Willis Day.
Kayla Willis Day. Come on now.
Yeah. So I had Going Against the Grain, and we did a lot of just community outreach and stuff. And it was at Westlake, and pretty much after I had gone viral, they were like, oh, it's this girl at Westlake that's been amazing this entire time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So South Fulton had become a new city, because it wasn't
within
a
Metro
city.
Atlanta?
Well, not within Metro Atlanta, but within Fulton County.
Oh, okay.
Because South Fulton was like unincorporated areas in South Fulton County. South Fulton, the city, now was just unincorporated areas. So it's very complicated.
Yeah, Atlanta.
So then it became its own city. So then we got our mayor, and the mayor at the time, if y'all Google the mayor now, it's a lot of stuff that happens. But the mayor at the time, William Edwards, was really, he really promised to like showcase local just talent and people that are doing good for South Fulton. So once I had gone viral, they had like, I guess, looked into me, talked to teachers and administrators and stuff about things that I was doing. And they found out about Going Against the Grain and everything else that I had going on. And yeah, they're like, yeah, I want you to come to the town hall on March 19th and bring your family, whatever. I'm thinking we're just about to talk about Steve Harvey stuff. No, they done gave me my own day.
Oh, wait, so this was what, senior year?
Yeah, it was
crazy.
March 19th, 2019, which is tough. Crazy because it's a week after my birthday. So my birthday is March 12th.
Yeah.
And my day is March 19th.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't know. I thought it was like after like you like were removed from, high school stuff, but
no, I got that then. And I celebrate it every year. I still keep in contact with the mayor. Yeah, it's probably my biggest flex.
How do you celebrate it?
every year, yeah.
I wouldn't expect us to be popping bottles, but are we? Oh, okay.
Sometimes.
Tell me about it.
So it's twofold. Each year I volunteer.
Okay.
So I'll volunteer somewhere.
Woman of the people.
Huh?
I said a woman of the people.
Yeah. I'll volunteer somewhere, or I'll give a donation to an organization that I'm really like passionate about.
Okay.
In addition to that.
Right.
It may be a couple of bottles, a couple of shots. Okay. Last year was Kayla Willis Day, year 5. So I did Operation Serve. Okay. Yeah. So S was support organizations. So I donated $200 to different organizations and individuals that was just like I was saying, that was just doing things that I really am passionate about. The first E was engage with the community. So the first engage with the community was I took my nonprofit and we, I think it was like National Forest Day, and we like went into the forest and we was cutting down trees. We was doing all types of stuff that I don't like doing, but I did it. And then I took them out to eat. R was record moments. So I'll save R for a second. V was volunteer. So I volunteered at Atlantic Mission, sorted clothes for the homeless. Well, let me not say homeless, for the houseless community. And E was enjoy life. So I threw myself a birthday party on St. Patrick's Day because last year the theme of the year was seeing green.
Seeing green, okay.
So I threw a green themed St. Patrick's Day party, and for recording moments, I had like a videographer.
Tough.
And it was pictures. It was really fun. So yeah, that's how I celebrated last year. This year, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm in New York. Probably just give a donation or something. But yeah, every year I have to celebrate.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah. So getting into obviously the New York side, right? You moved to New York. You're at Columbia now.
Yes.
Where you do your post-grad experience. How has that transition been for you, especially being that you have your nonprofit and, you got the Kayla Willis Day, and then, you do so many things and still you're a student still.
Yeah.
Right? How was that experience for you, and how are you able to stay grounded?
The experience has been interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I literally just got out of depression, maybe December or so. And I didn't realize I was depressed until I had like a really bad moment. And I was bedridden. I wasn't eating. It was bad. And I was like, something is not right with me.
Right.
And then I found out I was like I wouldn't say severely depressed, but I found out that I was on the higher scale of depression. And that was probably the toughest moment within my academic career so far because I couldn't pinpoint what was going on. Like, I was also depressed like during the whole Steve Harvey thing or whatnot, but I knew that that's because I had gone from a regular student to this celebrity.
Yeah, having all these eyes on you.
Yeah, so I knew that was why. But I was here at Columbia, and I'm like, I'm at an Ivy League school. I got I'm in my dream city. I'm making friends. I don't have to pay for much. I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Why am I depressed? So that transition, it was really hard. But I think something that I've taken from it is, I said this earlier, but just learning how to be present and learning how to be patient. Giving myself time to experience in totality, because I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I put a lot of pressure on things too. I don't like when things don't go my way. But what happens if they don't go my way and I don't know why? So that was the biggest lesson out of that. Luckily, I'm not depressed anymore. And it's become easier for me to navigate Columbia. And I'm starting to understand the reasons why, but I'm also understanding that I don't have to know why.
Right.
So some things can just happen, and you could just have a low moment, and that doesn't mean that you're any less than, or you're, not good enough, or you're not meant to be here, or whatever the case may be. Just be present.
Yeah. Yeah. The conversation of depression obviously it's a very personal one. You mentioned that, you didn't even notice it was happening, until you figured it out that, yeah, this is something that I'm going through. Obviously you talked about where your mindset is with being able to get out of that space, but what were some of like the routines that you started to develop? What were some of the habits that you started to take upon that you have now that, keeps you grounded and keeps you away from being in that space?
Yeah. One of them is writing. I love to write. I have a journal. I have a blog, ? I don't know how to explain it. I have a blog. And being able to, see my days and see my weeks and like, I guess, read my growth is something that I'm really like I hone in on. Honestly, being active. So like allowing myself to become distracted from my own mind has helped me a lot too. So whether that's through cycling or through running or through whatever, that has helped. And in terms of routine, I'm not one for a routine, honestly.
Okay.
I like to wake up and see where the day takes me. But I guess just trying to do things. So I may not be having the best day. Hell, I may not even be having the best week. But go to cycling, write in your journal, watch a movie, call a friend, try a new restaurant, something like that. That way I'm allowing myself to not let like whatever is going on bring me down.
Yeah, take over.
And I think while I was depressed, I was not doing that enough. So now I'm doing it more. I'm finding myself like feeling joy from the small things better, I should say.
Based off our conversation and everything that you've, shared with us, on the show today, it seems that you're a very motivated individual. You're a very passionate individual, and every step along your journey, you continue, whether there's like an obstacle that may come in the way or something that may kind of, looks like it may suppress you, you always continue to, hurdle over that obstacle, right? And you continue to push forward, and you continue to, find a way, and continue to perfect your craft to be the best version of yourself. And with that, you have many goals and aspirations that it looks like that you continue to, knock down one after another. One of them that I know that you share with me, offline is you have a goal of being the mayor of Atlanta,
yes.
Right? Can you please talk about that?
Talk about it.
And because that's such a big thing. And, city of Atlanta, so much history, so much culture, obviously, where you grew up. So just talk to us about, that goal and how you will make that happen, because it's going to happen.
Yeah. I didn't know that I wanted to be mayor at first until I started to work in like voter registration. And then I was able to shadow William Edwards, who was the mayor of South Fulton. And other than just being passionate about people and just really wanting to help them, I think that being mayor allows you to really connect with the issues that matter.
100%.
And the issues that matter the most to me, from education to infrastructure to environment, to the environment, to even just like promoting Black businesses, I could do in Atlanta. And I also think that it's really important for someone to want to represent the constituency that they see themselves the most in. And with everyone that I've met from Atlanta that's lived in Atlanta, I like can feel a part of myself within them. And that's kind of my motivation for Atlanta. Like, I want Atlanta to be better, but I also want the people of Atlanta to be better and to be able to experience new things. For example, with like the MARTA system, or that's their train system, or even going back to education, like how we're going about like charter schools or public schools and like public funding. That's really it. And other aspects of it too. How do I plan on going about that? I'm very lucky to be here in New York, because New York is allowing me to experience what it's like to diversify my mind. So now I need to learn how to advocate for people who may not be like me at all. And I think because I'm here in New York, I'm learning how to advocate for people who come from a totally different walk of life. So when I do get back to Atlanta and I do start my political career, I can have the ability to advocate for anybody. And yeah, that's that's really my first step. So diversifying my mind, and then honestly keep pushing. I'm getting this master's degree. It's hard to find good politicians that have educational backgrounds beyond just becoming like a JD or something. So really like putting knowledge into myself. So yeah, I may be the mayor, but I can code too. And I can sit here and I can do a regression analysis and I can tell you where you're going wrong. Because I think it's really important for someone to know what they're talking about. And I'm making sure that wherever space that I'm going into, whether that's political or personal, I'm knowing what I'm talking about. And yeah, find me a job and then start my political career.
For sure.
So yeah, those are the steps. And I'm really excited because I just see how my life has gone and I can see how my life could go if I just keep pushing.
100%.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few minutes back how you were able to find joy in the simple things, right? You know, could you talk a little bit about that, right? Finding joy in the simple things and what those simple things look like to you, and you know, just that whole dynamic of making things simple and just finding joy within that.
Yeah, that's actually kind of hard for me sometimes because I'm a very dramatic person. So I honestly typically don't find joy in the simple things.
Yeah.
I find joy in the big things.
Yeah.
But after being depressed, you know, you hit such a low that sometimes you're just chasing a small win. So and that's when it started. So whether that's I listened to my favorite song today or I got sushi, I got 3 rolls for $15. You know what I mean? Like being able to appreciate that stuff. And I really think that comes from centering your mind and understanding what it means to be alive. I don't know if y'all ever had anyone like, I guess, like pass away that's really close to you, but we really take for granted the significance of what it is to just be alive and be present. So the fact that I get to wake up every day and have the opportunity to just move forward and keep doing things in life has allowed me to appreciate the small things just a little bit more. And sometimes like small things can change. Like maybe today the sushi was $15 and that was the highlight of your day. But sometimes like you could have just had a really great time with your friends.
Right.
And that's something that could be small, but it's actually like pretty big to you. So understanding like that aspect has allowed me to just have a new perspective on life. Like I don't, just because I, let's say for instance, failed or didn't do too well on an assignment doesn't mean that I have to have a bad day. That doesn't mean that I have to, you know, sulk or whatever within it. I'm being really, I'm like doing too much with the example, but it doesn't mean that I have to, you know, take that and use that like personally. Like, yeah, I may have didn't do that well on assignment, but I still got money in the bank. You know what I mean? Like small things like 100%. That. It just keeps you, I don't know, it just allows you to realize like the things that really matter in life. Yeah.
How do you, you know, present day, how do you embrace your inner child? And what advice do you have for, you know, people who are younger or even people who are our age or even a little bit older, how to embrace their inner child? How
do I embrace my inner child? Honestly, I do things that remind me of my childhood.
100%.
Yeah. Whether that's like dancing or drawing or watching old movies. Yeah, I'll do that and it will remind me like of the things that I really hold on to. Another way is laughter. Like if you have the ability to make someone laugh and they really feel it, like that's one of the best feelings ever. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like I love laughing and I love like hearing people's laughter. So I think those are like 2 ways that I try to embrace my inner child. Any advice for those that may be struggling with finding their inner child? I would say, go back to the basics. What are 3 things that make you happy? What are 3 things, if you had it right now, will put a smile on your face, whether that's a phone call, you eating a full pint of ice cream, shopping, I don't know, some folks is trying football again. Like, it's so many aspects of it. Like, well, what are 3 things that you could do that can help you embrace your inner child? And I think once you figure out those 3 things, do them immediately.
Right.
Like, don't hesitate. It's younger Kayla, so it's also myself.
For sure.
So when I'm talking to her, when I'm, young Kayla, well, I'll call her Young Dubs, but Young Dubs sees this or does this, like, it's really affirming myself for it. And yeah, it's just really it's really beautiful. And I think also that's another piece of advice, but if someone starts to do that too, then they would not only be healing their inner child, but also will be carrying them with you. You know what I mean?
It's a bar. It's a bar for sure.
That's what's up. I like that.
Awesome. Well, Kayla, we really appreciate you coming on today. It was a great, fruitful conversation. I learned a lot, stuff that I didn't know before this conversation. So I just, hope that you continue to have all the deserved success that you will have, and continue just to keep ascending and, making great change, and not just, Atlanta, but the world in general. So appreciate you big time.
Thank you.
Yeah, future mayor of Atlanta right here. We got Lil Dubs in the building. I like that. Appreciate you for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
So we're going to wrap here. Be sure to follow us, subscribe on all of our platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, @official InnerChild. And please don't forget to make sure to always embrace your inner child. I'm JB, that's OD. And until next time, peace.
Peace out.